Hi, I know we're all sitting at home right now, bored, trying to quarantine, staying home, trying to stay safe from COVID. Yeah, I know none of that's fun. So, we got some fun crafts to do today, things that we can easily do in the house. This is one of my favorite all time go to projects. I've already got several of these made here at the house. I keep my goodies in here, my scissors, my pencils, paintbrushes, anything that I want to keep in my craft room that's easy for me to pull out over here in my area. So I'm going to show you guys how to make these fun craft jars today. Um, these are really easy to make. We're going to make a collage craft jar with tissue paper, glue, and some glass containers. So I've got my glass containers here ready. You can use anything, any even plastic works, but I've chosen glass for my container today, just because I feel like that works a little better for me. But whatever you have at home that you want to cover, you can even use like little cardboard boxes, anything that you want to jazz up a bit. This can be really fun, really easy to do at home, and very inexpensive, but it looks like $1,000,000 once it's all finished. So that's why it's one of my favorite go to projects. Really fun for all ages. I've got a couple different containers here. I've got a jar, a little glass jar. So they're easy to come by. You reuse your old pickle jars. You can even use the little 99-cent glass vases you get at either a dollar store or a thrift store. I had one of these hanging around at home. I think I'm going to start with my jar though, just because I know these are pretty universal and easy to work with and find around the house. So I've got my school glue here. Let's hope I can unscrew this lid because it's going to be a very necessary part of this video. There we go. Get that unscrewed. So I've got just some school glue here. No brand in particular, Elmer's glue or just about anything you can find at your local dollar store or Walmart, anywhere like that, Target, any place that sells glue. And then I've got some tissue paper here. Again, you can find this at your dollar store, Walmart, any easy to find go to store, just your nearest place. This stuff is pretty inexpensive, and again, you can probably get it for $1 at your local dollar store. So we're gonna start by getting our paintbrush ready, get it all gluey, and we're gonna start covering our container with the Elmer's glue here. And we want a pretty good cover. I usually start by covering one side because it's easier for me if I have some other places that I can hold the jar while I'm working with it here. It's pretty easy to do. Just kind of paint the glue on. You do want to pretty well saturate this though, so your stuff will stick to your surface. So I'm going to set my paintbrush aside. I'm going to start with any random color will do, but we're going to start with blue today just because that was the easiest to find. And then we're going to stick more tissue paper onto the jar. You want to make sure that that is also covered in glue. We're going to eventually go over the surface again with more Elmer's glue or school glue, whichever is easiest for you to find. So I'm going to pick a spot, possibly right here. And as you can see, it's okay if this is a little wrinkly as you're putting it on. Creates kind of a really fun texture once it's dried. You just want to make sure that after you apply your tissue paper onto the glued surface that you go back over it with another layer of glue once you've applied it, because that's what's going to give it that really hard, nice, shiny, finished look once it's dried. I know it's kind of deceiving, but this does dry clear once it's completely dry. It takes about 24 hours to dry completely. You want to make sure that it loses that tackiness. Once it loses that kind of sticky tackiness, you'll know then that it's probably completely dry and ready to use. So I'm just gonna keep going around my surface here, adding different colors of tissue paper. This really doesn't take too much time once you get the hang of it. Let's see what the next color here. I think we're gonna go with this green down on the bottom. I find that I like to work with smaller pieces of tissue paper. It allows me to add more color to my surface. I'll go over that now with my Elmer's glue. School glue is actually, in a lot of ways, kind of a cheapened version of Mod Podge. I like to use it for a lot of the collage work that I do. I think we're going for a purple piece here. You can use whatever colors that you like to work with. There's really no right or wrong way to do art. As long as you are following some of the basic guidelines on the how-tos, the rest is really up to personal preference. As you can see, I'm really getting a thick layer back over my paper once I apply it. That's really gonna seal it down to the surface that I'm using. I think I'm gonna go ahead and finish covering that empty spot. Get that really saturated down. We're gonna go with some orange down here. Come back with maybe a little bit of blue. Get a nice big piece of blue on there. You really do want to make sure that your jar is completely covered for the best results. I usually don't like to do the very bottom of my jar, just because when I go to let that dry, when I sit it down, otherwise it will dry and stick to my surface. And I usually do like to leave just the very top rim of my jar uncovered. Makes it easier to work with and apply the paper. But otherwise, I like a really good cover. And I want to make sure that I've got a lot of color going on the surface that I'm working with. I don't like to leave any glass showing. Cover that paper. Make sure it's really saturated. All right. I'm gonna get one more color, just a small section of green going through to break that up a little bit. Finish coating that with our school glue here. We need one more color there. Maybe just a few here and there patches. Some smaller pieces going around the jar here. Let's see. Repeat some of that red we got going on. Right about here. Hard to believe just these simple combination of materials that once this is dry, it's going to look something like this, almost like stained glass. I was pretty surprised myself with the results when I first tried this project, but I quickly became a fan. We're just gonna finish coating this final layer here that I applied. Again, you really do want to saturate this with the glue. what's going to give it that hard outer shell and give it that nice shiny look once it's finished. I'll show you a couple of other jars that I've created so you guys can kind of get the idea of what this looks like when it's dry. Again, it does dry nice and shiny and hard. And what a great place I have now to store my Christmas candy canes and pencils and my craft room. Well, thank you very much. That's all I have for you guys today. Please stay safe. Please stay warm. And please, by all means, wear a mask this holiday season. Have a good night, you guys. Thank you.